It's just not fair. I know, I thought the Leafs deserved to win that one. Not that, they got James Reimer sitting on the bench, man. That's what you're worried about? I just hope he's eating well. Hi! Leafs Nation, stand witness for Austin Lucas! Full biblical! Austin Matthews is the Leaf! Why do I watch hockey? Stressfully, mostly. Leafs! Lose 3-2 in overtime to the Florida Panthers. Roberto Luongo stops 37 of 39 shots because once again, he forgets what year it is. And it stops Curtis McElhinney's personal winning streak of 4 straight games. Of course, this was an overtime loss. His last regulation loss was 6 games ago, which doesn't sound nearly as impressive as his last regulation loss was December 20th. And while McElhinney didn't have the best game of his entire life, he definitely wasn't the reason the Leafs lost. After failing to score on a power play of their own, the Leafs take a penalty. It's Tyler Bozak. Tyler! And the Panthers did well, but the Leafs called it off, Until Bozak took another one, Tyler! And this time, Jonathan Huberdeau goes behind the net and tricks Nikita Zaitsev. Hey Nikita, I got a Dunkaroos! Zaitsev's like, ooh! Huberdeau to Barkov, who scores so quickly that we didn't even see it go in. Panthers up 1-0 after 1. Which was not nearly as embarrassing as less than 2 minutes into the second, Jonathan Huberdeau again. Huberdeau has the puck and waits. And waits. And waits. And scores on McElhinney for his 19th of the season. I call him the police. Here's my question of the game. Were the Leafs able to look McElhinney in the eye after that? Like, thank goodness that happened at the beginning of the period and the Leafs tied it by the end of that period. I wouldn't even be able to look at McElhinney. Like, yeah, that's a pretty tough one there. What do you even say to that? I just pretend like it didn't happen. Luckily, a minute and 11 later, the Leafs make up for it. Panthers try to clear. Moore says no. Chaos in front. Kapanen gets a whack at it. Komarov touches it and Moore buries it. The 37-year-old scores on the 38-year-old and the Leafs are within 1. That's so good for Moore. It's funny, the broadcast started to like creep into the, well, did they need Buchanan's conversation? Don't you dare, we are not having this conversation right now. Look, I just wish Babcock would figure out the key to using Moore. The key to using Dominic Moore is scratch him every other game. It worked earlier this season and it's working now. Every time this guy comes back from a scratch, he scores. What I love about that goal, yes, it was the Panthers making a mistake, but like I said last video about the Lightning, the Leafs forced a mistake. Hard work and hustle, a nice ugly goal. And my weird obsession with this continues, that's Kasperi Kapanen's second career assist. Don't make fun of me, everyone needs a hobby. A little under 10 minutes later, the Panthers have the puck. William Nylander comes in and says, had. Steals the puck right off the Donov stick and turns the other way. Swedish track me. And while everyone is watching him, he dishes the puck off to Hyman, whose birthday is June 9th, but he would have thought it was last night with a gift like that. 2-2. That's at least the second time in recent memory where the Leafs have been down 2-0, and I've been watching and going, LOL for now. And then they tie it, LOL. It's almost like we forgot this about the Leafs because they've been playing with the lead for so much over the past like month and a half, 2 months now. It's when they don't have the lead and they just focus on offense, they're a force of nature. Look at the Bruins on Saturday night, controversial winning goal aside. When the Bruins had the 3-2 lead, they did everything they possibly could and Tuukka Rask is just like tied to the post like Millhouse. And the Leafs are just smashing that coconut on a rock until it cracks. They don't get tired. And after a rocky start, the Leafs are now tied 2-2 heading into the third. And it's funny because the Leafs were out shooting the Panthers 21-16 heading into the third. Panthers only getting 9 and 7 shots on goal in each period. Third period, both teams just said, 12 shots for the Panthers, 15 shots for the Leafs, let's go! WrestleMania Sunrise, Curtis McElhinney, Roberto Luongo, Battle of the Aging Groins, with special guest referee Roman Reigns. Oh, why does he have to be in everything? And the groin battle even extended into overtime. McElhinney kicking out at the 2 count. And then Zaitsev pinches. Kadri plays a little game of stay or go, chooses go, and the puck ends up on Jared McCann's stick and he's just like, most unwise. Jared McCann scores the game winner on the exact same night that Canucks Twitter decided to lose its mind, so that was kind of ironic. Leafs lose. It's funny, we've talked about this on the podcast. I can be influenced by wins and losses, it's a weakness. But these days, I am amazed at how Leafs fans react to losses. I'm about to say this, I'm aware of the irony, okay? But Leafs fans are overreacting to losses. Look, I'm not happy. The Leafs are in an all-out war for first in the Atlantic. Yeah, I said first in the Atlantic with Tampa and Boston. At very least, they're defending second. Every loss is bad, even the overtime ones. Well, those are only half bad. In fact, they're actually half wins because, you know, it's the NHL and things don't matter. What doesn't matter? Things, all things. Leafs played well in this one. That's why I'm not that worried. Plekanec looked better in this one. I'm not that worried. He drew a penalty this time. Second game as a Leaf, they're like, you're Austin Matthews tonight. Come on! No, you're actually right. right. The Leafs have been awesome since Nikita Zaitsev has gotten back in the lineup. That does not mean Nikita Zaitsev has been awesome. For anyone trying to run him out of town, I would say this. He just signed a 7-year deal. What the Leafs really need to do is make it work. Before I panic about it too much, the Leafs are taking an extra off day in Florida. They're going to enjoy the summer sun before heading to Maryland for the outdoor game against Washington. I think what Zaitsev needs to do is get a pina colada on the beach, sit down, and relax. I think he's got the talent. I think the Leafs do too, otherwise they wouldn't have given him that money. I think the problems are up here. Reset, refocus, score the overtime winner against Washington. That'll be fun. Don't worry about it. Panthers fans, if I were you, I'd be like, oh, he finally remembered. I would be extremely proud of Roberto Luongo if I was you. Besides the fact that he thinks it's 2009 and he's not 38 and he's incredible again. But his speech the other night on home ice before a game in Florida, like that's gotta be nerve-wracking as it is, but the subject matter made it even harder. And the fact that he was personally affected by the subject matter was incredible. And while I'm sure that speech inspired emotion in you, I hope it also inspires action. But I'm not you, that's just how I think I would feel if I were you. Questions. Can you get Brian 5 or 6 on your podcast? Here's my formal invitation. Brian, you want to come on the podcast, you lunatic? Leo Komarov 17-18 or Michael Grabner 15-16? Komarov this season because the Leafs are good. Phil Kessel is a 2-time Stanley Cup champion! That's not a question, but fair. How do Canadians deal with snow? Scotland is a disaster right now and it's only a couple of inches deep. I mean, we just watch hockey. And you gotta be a lunatic to drive in Scotland. If there's snow, it's all whining and crazy. Don't do that. I don't know. They make scotch in Scotland, don't they? Angry or relieved that Mike Green blocked trade to the Leafs? Relieved. Look, I want the Leafs to have good players, and Mike Green is definitely that. But, sorry, man. The Leafs are good now. Like, actually, they're really good. And these days, if you don't want to be on the Toronto Maple Leafs, you're the one with the problem.
And now I will end this video. Iggy, can you? And now I would like to end this video with a blooper reel of me screaming myself into hiccups. Shut up.
WrestleMania Sunrise, Curtis. WrestleMania Sunrise. WrestleMania Sunrise, Roberto Luongo, Curtis McElhaney. WrestleMania Sunrise, Curtis. I can't do it. WrestleMania Sunrise, Curtis McElhaney, Roberto Luongo, Battle of the Aging Groins. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. We recorded a brand new Panago Pizza Steve Dangle podcast yesterday. I'll put it in one of the windows over here. And, oh, merch down below. I'm doing better at mentioning it.